In 5th grade math, one of the expectations is that you know all of your multiplication facts up to the 12 by 12. So we're going to be looking at multiplication combinations in this video.
There are 144 multiplication combinations in this chart. These are all the math facts that you need to know in 5th grade. You may think that remembering all of them is going to be really tough, but we're going to show you some strategies that it's going to make it really easy for you.
One of the things you need to tell yourself that if you know a fact, you really know two facts. Like in this example right here, if you know that 8 times 3 is 24, then you also know that 3 times 8 is 24. So that is like the turnaround facts. When you know one, you know the other, so you don't have to stress out about, oh, I know 3 times 8, but I don't know 8 times 3, because yes, you do. When you have discovered that you know the turnaround facts, you've already taken the combinations from 144 different combinations down to 78 combinations that you need to learn. So just by knowing that 2 times 1 is the same thing as 1 times 2, you've already set yourself up to remembering fewer multiplication facts. And that goes for any of the turnarounds. So you've got your 3 times 1 and your 1 times 3, and so on and so forth.
Another helpful way to learn multiplication combinations is to think about one category at a time. We can think about our times 1 combinations. Anytime we multiply a number times 1, the product is just that number. For example, 1 times 9 equals 9, because you have one group of 9. We can also look at our times 2 combinations. When we multiply a number times 2, we really are just doubling that number. So 2 times 8 is just like 8 plus 8, which we know is 16.
The times 10 and times 5 combinations go together. The times 10 is the easiest combination. Once you have learned your times 10, your times 5 is just taking half of that. So look at your example here. This is 6 times 10 equals 60. Well, 6 times 5 is just half of the 60, which is 30. So let's say we had 5 times 10, which is 50. Those are always the easy ones because it's like we're skip counting by tens. So 5 times 5 would just be half of the 50, which is 25.
Times 11 combinations you can think of by just noticing the double-digit pattern that they create. So if I say 11 times 3, my answer is 33. 11 times 4 is 44, and so on.
For the times 12 combinations, some kids find it easier to break the 12 down into 10 and 2, and then you're able to put them together. So if I were doing 6 times 12, which is what this problem illustrates right here, I break it down into 6 times 10 and then 6 times 2. Well, those are easy multiplication facts to remember. I know that this one's 60 and this one is 12, and then I can just add those two in the end and get 72.
You can also learn the square numbers. Sometimes it's helpful to draw the square numbers on grid paper. If we look at the arrays for the square numbers, you can see when you start with 3, when you multiply 3 by itself, 3 times 3 is 9, so 9 is the square number. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 is the square number. 5 times 5, 25 is the square number that's made, and so on.
If you work really hard on trying to understand the combination strategies, you will take all of your math facts down from 144 to remember down to just a few. So all of those strategies we just showed you helped you with all of these facts in here, and it only leaves these left for you to remember. So you have taken all of the work off yourself but for just a few multiplication facts. So if you can remember those combinations, you're going to do yourself a great favor.